Folks, I hope you can hear me. We'll be trying to add, first, welcome to the live coding session for Khoj 2.0. We've been doing this now for about a week, since Monday. Took a break on Friday, and this is the first time we're doing it in uh, in the morning hours of PST. Hopefully, it works out better for folks in other time zones. Because the evening time zone is a little annoying for other folks. And a quick recap of what we've been doing till now, where we started with working on improving Khoj's ability to retrieve your documents and look through your personal knowledge base. So we gave it a few tools that allowed it to uh, more have a better about deterministic kind of traversal through your knowledge base, view files, list files, and then grep through them, apart from the existing kind of search tool that's already within Khoj, like the semantic search tool that's already within Khoj. And then we kind of tried to tune it. We tuned it into a way where these tools that can use better. Like the instructions we're giving it, we're figuring out how to where the research agent wants to do something else, or we're not giving it enough information, and kind of debugged and investigated through that and listed out a few points to do, added a few things. During that session, then we've added, I think, voice chat. And then, in the last session, we added the ability for Khoj to be able to write, like comic books, visual stories, but basically weave text and multiple images into a coherent story. And so that was fun. We got that working right at the end, and the session ended up being an hour and a half. This MCP support thing is the next thing we want to do. Let's see how that goes. But basically, what the objective is here is, again, in the research mode, like we added during the first session, the grep tool, the file search tool, we want other folks, like people running their own code servers, to be able to define their own tools outside Khoj and or use existing tools defined by other folks outside. And one of the mechanisms to do that, the most popular mechanism to do that is right now called MCP. It's called Model Context Protocol. It's by the folks behind Claude Anthropic. They released this protocol and built that capability out into their Claude desktop. And since then, I think it's been a few months when they got that, like a few months ago that they got this out. And since then, folks have been the community's been building a lot of MCP servers, is what they're called, but tools for an MCP host. So something like Claude Desktop or Khoj to be then able to get tools from this like MCP server. Like, hey, server, tell me like all the tools that you have. So an MCP host, in this case, Khoj, where the idea is that it'll call into an MCP server that we define or use, and then ask it like, hey, what all tools do you have? It'll tell the tools in a specific schema, which isn't too different from the kind of function calling paradigm and the create tool definition standardized tool format that we use in Khoj. At least that's my expectation. So we get tools and then we pull that in dynamically into the research mode agents flow to be like, hey, you have access to these other tools that the Khoj like server admin. So we just to divide up the different roles of folks. There are the Khoj developers, folks writing stuff into Khoj directly, right? Into the Khoj source code. Then there are the Khoj admins or server admins. Those are folks who are hosting code servers, um, potentially for themselves, but also for the company, for their family, for their friends, whatever it is, right? Those are server admins. They have access to the admin panel, can add things. So in this case, we're trying to build a thing where the code server admin can add MCP servers that their code server supports. And then when folks are calling into their code server, they get access to these other tools. So we're right now not building it up all the way to like the user or the client, the final user is able to plug in their tools. We'll hopefully eventually get to that at some point in time. But right now we're trying to build in the server admin, like we're writing the code as Khoj developers to allow server admins to add their custom MCP servers into Khoj config so that those tools can be used with Khoj, right? So ideal flow looks like we ask in the research flow, get tools, and then all the tools that MCP server that the server admin has pointed Khoj to returns those tools that it has access to. We plug that into the research mode loop. The Khoj research agent decides like which tools of the existing tools that it already has, the default tool it already has access to, between those and the kind of dynamically populated tools from the MCP servers that the server admin has defined. Which of those tools does um, does it want to choose for the user-defined task in this specific iteration of their of code research agents research? So it'll get tools, and then once it decides, hey, I want to use this tool with these query parameters, that tool is supposed to be called. And in the MCP case, we'll then make a call to the MCP server again, being like, hey, of these tools that you listed, we want to call this tool with these parameters. Hopefully that returns us results, and then we loop as usual, right? I looked into, I do not have that much idea about the MCP protocol. I don't know whether I'm just being daft about it or the documentation, like I blame it on the documentation. But it's kind of confusing to figure out like exactly what's happening and what's up with this MCP server. Like when MCP came out, folks have been asking on Khoj for on the Khoj Discord and GitHub and stuff like, when are we getting MCP support? And usually, initially, I just didn't get the point of like what this MCP server stuff is doing. Later on, like the way, and again, if this is for folks who are getting confused, like me, right now because it does a bunch of different things. But right now, for our purposes, for now, the main thing that we care about that it does is these MCP servers you can ask them to be like, hey, tell me what all tools you have access to, and then call one of those tools. Like that's the main thing that we care about right now. And that's super useful, as I said, because server admins at least, and then later maybe users as well, can then define their own tools, and the Khoj developers don't have to add all the tools that the user cares about. The user or the server admin can then configure their code servers or their Khoj, their own personal Khoj, with the tools that they care about. They can write the tools, they can use tools that our folks have already defined, right? And that's useful. So that's one part, like a high-level summary for our purposes for now. And then the other is while in my head, it should be relatively simple to ask a server for like, hey, what tools do you have, and return it in some like basic HTTP format, where we have the required parameters, name, description, and then the response schema. The MCP server thing seems to be doing a lot more. It's trying to do SSE, which is server-side events. It's trying to do streamable HTTP. So we'll see, like while conceptually it sounds simple, we'll see if we can kind of get that whole kind of more involved transport mechanism that they're using to work with code, right? Okay, cool. Let's now jump in to actually coding this thing up. Right, where we right. So this is where we have our current branch. This is the branch we've been working on since Monday. We want like we yeah this is the place where we added the enable generating images, generating multiple images, weaving them in line in chat response. These are random fixes that I thought I've pushed into master, but not maybe. But these are just like side fixes for image generation. We were hitting this issue during the live coding session for folks who were there or will watch it later. Some of the image generations were failing. I just kind of looked into that and like discovered some safety filters and like person generation filters that are like set by default and shifted that around. And then added a retry for the image generation that improved like these failures. It doesn't remove them, but improves that. And that's like not a minor thing. But again, like our feature branch is right now clean. And we'll start from here. Give me a second. Oh, wait. Great. I have not shared my screen yet. Okay. This is what I've been talking about. Main thing is like a feature branch is clean. And then this is the last sessions, like multiple image generations and like the visual story thing, right? With some amount of changes that I added later on to improve the robustness of image generation. And then where was I here? Okay. This is and then the VS Code is here. Where we'll add this stuff, right? Let's see now. The main the main file that we're going to be working on is research. Like the research agent is what we're working on. This is the main entry file for that, which controls the research iteration loop. So this is where like the loop starts here. There's a max like number of tries Khoj has to do its research, which you can dynamically set. Otherwise, it's set to 5. I think in our right now, not like on local setup and even on like Khoj Cloud, I think it's like 10 or 15 or maybe 20 turns it can do. The 5 is an artifact from when we initially implemented it. And then somewhere here, like here we do the pick next tool. This is the part which decides what next tool to call, given the user's query and the conversation history, other tool calls it's done, like a bunch of context that's passed to the agent to decide. And then once it decides the tool, we call that tool. That's what they call that function effectively, with the argument selected by the model, and then return back the results to the model to decide its next step, right? So we have some existing tools, we have some tools in some previous sessions, and we'll here add one, like try and call the MCP server, and second, somewhere around here, right? Okay, so and let me also restart code server just to be sure that we're on the right branch and on the Git on the changes that we see right now, and then let's go down to what we're going to do. Okay, so we want to be like I'm going to use Cline with not 2.5 flash. Where's the 2.5 Pro. Um, Actually, let's start with a previous. Let's start with first, like kind of getting a little bit of idea. Or maybe we can do both in parallel. Oh, why did code not start? Oh, yeah, what is happening? It. mm, I'm waiting for the code server to start. Not sure why it's not starting. We'll just restart VSCode. Manually because I just updated VS Code like I don't know 15 minutes ago. It was asking to be updated or restarted. Okay, it's starting up. Hopefully, I don't see the launcher thingy here. No. Uh, this is not where I want to get stuck with. Oh, my computer's become really hot. Because of the sun falling directly on it. All the surfaces have become really hot. Okay, while oh, it started great. What were we doing? All right, I wanted to ask Khoj about like let hopefully you can do it. Like I've created a Khoj technical architect guy, just knows about like some of the like tools that Khoj, some of the like tech stack of Khoj, around like fast API, Python, Django, um, stuff like that. But I'm just gonna ask it, find re-implement add support for MCP, calling MCP servers to get tools and call tool, get tools at call tool in Khoj on code server. And yeah, I'll set it a bit in a bit, but and we want to interact with the MCP server over HTTP instead of HTTP. Share code samples. Just like not have it go and start to use the run code tool for now. Basically, we want to understand like how this like the HTTP thing works. So while Khoj is going to do that, let's talk to these guys. Where is this Cline? And then okay, we're going to the code server. Well, to what to the research agent in Khoj to get tools and call tool add MCP support to the research agent in Khoj to get tools and call tools from a configured MCP server. The server admin can configure these MCP servers on the admin panel. See, what was it? Admin, but for sure, this is where the user can add model for MCP server to this and maybe an add adapter to. So the models is where like the Django ORM models are defined and the models are in it, and then adapters are where functions that interact with the models, like simple functions which interact with the models, basically use the Django ORM to call like get all MCP servers or get all like chat models and stuff like that. Like those things are defined in the adapters. Add MCP server config to this, and then an adapter to this. Ensure the model is registered on the Django admin panel at this. Okay, those are fine. Those are just like prerequisites, and then let's say Khoj at what? Okay, the breakpoint being hit while Khoj is in its research. At research dot py. To get tools and call tools from a config all configured MCP servers. Did Khoj finish its research? It's still reading. Because I wanted to inject that into here, but okay, job is to add MC support to the research agent. Okay, tools and call tools, so anything to do with it. Right. So one is like setting up the ability for server admins to configure an MCP server, right? And we'll be interacting with the MCP server over HTTP. For now, we try that STDI, not STDIO. What else? We'll be interacting with the MCP server over HTTP, not STDIO, to get tools and call the tool. Should we just let it start on this and then, yeah, let it start on this and then we can inject the like specific things that Khoj's research yields. All this is correct. Oh, I don't need it to be exposing it via fast API, but that's fine. Okay, what's it doing? This is in models.init. This is find name URL enable. Sure. Maybe add, or actually we can add. Let me select. Maybe add API key to the MCP server feed as well. Okay. For folks who um, joining in more recently, like this is Cline we're using on the site. Cline is this open source like dev agent, like a developer, like it helps you write code. Maybe it helps you also talk because there's a plan thing, but mostly helps you write code. You can just tell it in natural language and you can configure the specific models. Yeah, so this is adding it to the admin panel, the MCP model, which is all correct. Wait, let's look at the adapter, what it did. Right, get all enabled is this is what we want. These are easy enough. But yeah, like as I was saying about Cline, like it allows you to configure which models you want to use. So that's good, and it like does the agentic thing. We use I use like Copilot Chat as well. It has an agent mode. It's not as flexible yet. Client's more flexible. In terms of like just tool use, like flexibility, it feels Claude Code is the best, but again, that doesn't support other models. So like it's flexible in tool use, but not flexible in like the models and stuff you can define. Okay, let's see what's happening here. HTTPX, that's fine. MCP server model is adapter and done. Okay, that's a top level class for all MCP server related adapters. And then here it has gotten the MCP servers that are defined. And for each server, it makes a get request to tools with the API key. That's good. And then for tool name, yeah, okay, great. So this is also defining the standardized tool definition that Khoj is using within its own code. So we have a standard tool definition, standard structure for it with name, description, and schema. And just pulling that in, but the tool data. Okay, so again, like we still have to figure out whether to get, like how to get, like what is the specific form in which these HTTP, the HTTP calls need to be made, and the specific endpoints, because that's, as I mentioned earlier, has some server-side event or streamable HTTP thing, and I'm not even sure like what the response is supposed to contain necessarily. Maybe Gemini 2.5 Pro knows, but assuming it's in a standard format like tool data schema and tool data, the response has a schema key value, like in the JSON and a description key value. This is good where server.name, tool name it's doing, because different servers can have potentially similar tool names. So that's good to see. And then let's see how. This is where we get the tools, and then this is where it's defined. Using the tool, there is this. Oh, I see. It doesn't like. This is fixable, but let's see what it's doing here. We do query name split server name and this. Oh, I see. This is fine too. And then if server, then so we create a payload with tool name and then the arguments. These are great. This is how it's supposed to be. Pulling out information from the tool call, at least in my head. And then let's add this file. Oh, that's also cool. The way it's referenced, like it's collating the results after having called run to. I feel like it knows the MCP protocol, so that's good because I wouldn't have thought. Well, let's see. It does a post, and then once it gets the response, it pulls the response tool result, like the JSON from it, puts it in compiled, and then the queries just the parts. I mean, it's fine. It's reusing an existing thing. I've been also doing that. An existing thing of putting stuff into this context is not the the correct way to do it, or like the cleanest way to do it. Like this won't go into the master branch right now, but at least it gets us going with testing of this thing. And then like the only thing we need to do is just MCP server bit that's added. We can fix it for it, which is it got MCP servers like this here. And so we should do the same. Well, we don't want to do it in every iteration, so maybe we'll just add it before we start looping here. Where did we start looping here? Right. So before that, we can just call this MCP servers bit here. And then this should not have the yellow squiggly anymore, right? Yeah, which is good. And then let's let it continue. Okay, Khoj is done with its research, and let's see what it has to say. Okay. Contracted an MCP server or HTTP, that is good. And then it's saying, oh, API key, this is also something we added, HTTPX async client, that's good. But then, oh, it's created an MCP client class with list tools, which calls /tools/list. I don't think Cline with 2.5 Pro used that. And then, yeah, I didn't use this for sure, tools/call. Okay, so this seems, at least Code also doesn't seem to think it's that involved. And then the way it's using it's getting speak line. And then just like calling that those functions within that. Okay. Oh, nice. Also, yeah, this part. Oh, yeah. Let's see where calls tool with a payload. The payloads are the arguments, which is what we're passing, and then tool name. I think we're passing as well. And then tool list response is this class that's defined somewhere. This, which is bunch of tool definitions. Okay, great. Oh, wait, but they called description. Input schema tools, input parameter. This is the right one. So it thinks, okay, let's just see. Okay, code client seems to think it's done its work. We now need to tell it. So let's look at Code's research, like how it. Oh, it said a bunch more execute tool post and then get tools list. Oh, this is also good. So yeah, so this input schema is how it's supposed to look, this thing. The annotations we don't particularly care about then. When it returns name as well. So this is good. Name, description, input schema. Let's verify that's what. Name. No, this seems to be called. Yeah, so client doesn't. We can just update this tools/list. Right. Get that, and then we build a tool definition from I see. So yeah, it's a list, but then the list contains. Wait, no, it's a JSON object that's returned. Simply tools, which is a dictionary. It starts with tools. So this is not, at least according to Khoj. And then that's a list of, I don't think this is way to do it. It's a list here, tools, and then tool name is this, and then tool data is, wait, then we'll just pull the description is equal to description, and then tool schema. Should be input schema, right? According to whatever code is saying here, input schema, description, and name. These are the things, 3 things you want to pull out from this. And then we want to use the tool description that we've instantiated before. Oh, wait, I can MCP tools. MCP tools, because there's already a thing called tools, a variable called tools that would have become confusing. So MCP, wait, this is MCP tool, not tools. Oh, wait, wait, did I? MCP JSON responses. Variable name clashes are happening. Don't avoid. Oh, wait, that's also not it. We want to do is MCP tools equal to, sorry, we don't protect against that because that's not something we expect. And then MCP tool in MCP tools is what we want here. If again we are to believe what Code is to say about the structure of these MCP get tools called. So we get tools, we get the response that's a object, a dictionary in Python world with the tools key, which returns a value of list of tools. And then each of the tool has list of tools. Each of the tools has a name, description, and input schema, name, description, input schema, and then we populate them like so. Okay, this is what we needed to do on the get part, and on the like, yeah, call part, we need to, it's a post request, so that's correct. But then server URL, it's /tool/call instead. Sorry, tool/call instead. And then another thing is that the payload name and arguments is what it thinks it should be. And what are we passing in as payload? Name and arguments. It's called tool name. Name and arguments is query args, which is a dictionary. That's correct. Like this is a dictionary. Oh, sorry, this is also a dictionary. This is the part we care about right now. Okay, so it's a post request, and then when we get the response, it's again according to code, it's supposed to be where this one's here. Wait, why does the response look like JSON dump is fine, but of not this. Or maybe let me just get it out here just to and then result again. Yeah, result equal to and that's fine. Maybe just, let things fail more strongly for now. We can decide what is allowed to be null and not later. Okay, but tool result account for again is in content, which is a list of things, and then that will get dumped. So we don't particularly care about the structure of it too much, as long as the requisite information is in there. Cool. Okay, wait, did it? We should create. Well, let's look at the git diff right now, just to be sure what are we looking at, what all has happened here. Right. So this is what we expect. Generally, get tools request and then call the tool that Khoj has. So like get tool request in when it's trying to pick a tool, like all the tools are got, and then add it to the tool definition from the MCP servers that have been configured. And then when Khoj picks a tool, we want to call that tool. But the call tool right now is not a function within Khoj. It's a call to the appropriate MCP server with the required query parameters. So that's what we see here. That's all good in the main research loop. And then we added a model with API key and things. We're at 43 minutes. Okay. Enabled true, that's correct. Only the enabled ones should be pulled out. Wait, research is done. Model is fine. Needs to be unique. Name needs to be unique, sure. And then API key can be blank. That's fine. Default is true. That's fine. Enable default is true. That's fine. We get all these. Okay, so this looks fine. Let's just make migrations, which allows it to be registered, like the new model that we created to be registered on the DB, so that make migration happen. So let's stage these changes. So when we make edits, we know where we started from for now, and then let me restart. Mhm. I feel like I don't trust this. I felt like I'd read something where like a just like whole SAC server-side event and sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, the SSE and streamable HTTP thing that I was mentioning, like I feel like that was that's required. But Khoj seems to think it's fine. Where is Khoj here? I want to see it. Okay, while this is started or sorry. While it's starting, let's just see what Khoj like what it read. Like it's train of thought. We can see on tool list tool call. So that seems like it's no. It's a part where it's like thinking like it wants to create a fast API endpoint, which is fine, but I don't particularly care about that right now. And then it shared the MCP docs, which are not, at least for me, as sensical, but maybe Code got more out of it than I did. Okay, yeah, so there's an MCP server thing here now, and then you can add an MCP server. Right, so what MCP server do we need to add? I was thinking of this memory MCP. Yeah, this one. Or there's something like a way to give Khoj memory, like that people have seen to build memories into Khoj. This seems more involved now. So I was thinking of adding like an MCP server that allows memory, which is in oh my god, again, just like very complicated, but like basically at some point Khoj had told me, yeah, this. So I've been trying out with this guy to just interact with the memory server, but I don't exactly know how to do that. Or I couldn't get it to work at least. And then there was this MCP proxy thingy, yeah. And then this, so okay, wait, I don't know whether I said this before or not, but MCP allows, apart from this SSE streamable HTTP thingy that you see mentioned here, allows an STT IO mechanism, which is mostly if you're having your tools locally, it can call the tool via shell, like a terminal directly. Um, that's fine. Like so this memory tool seems to be built or for interaction over STDIO over a terminal. So I'm guessing mostly it runs locally, but we want to wrap it into an HTTP interactable tool because again, Khoj, there could be local tools and maybe we like if this doesn't work out, we'll try and like work with that. But by default, we want Khoj to be able to interact with things which are not necessarily running locally. So any tool which is wrapped in an HTTP endpoint can be running locally. So you could call it at localhost like this one, or the way we've done it right now, or it could be running remotely. We want that optionality, so we generally don't want to be supporting this just like terminal only mechanism. If we can avoid, Code again, like is not just meant to be run locally on one person's machine. It's supposed to be a scalable service which runs on the cloud, can call things in running not necessarily in the same container as itself. So it just won't scale. And while the HTTP mechanism scales for like self-hosted, local-only setup and a cloud-hosted setup where the MCP server is running somewhere remotely, usually So we want that mechanism. That's why like I'm trying to interact with it over HTTP only for now, if we can get it working. And there is this tool which Code said called MCP proxy, which wraps these guys into MCP proxy to this guy. Again, I have not got this working, so I don't know exactly. Oh, what is this inspector? But basically, like, yeah, we'll try and use this thing. So for now, let me just configure memory and then HTTP local host. Yeah, the 8484 endpoint 8484. Wait, yeah, interesting. Yeah, and then there was a slash MCP or slash SSE and things. I'm again not sure which is which and when to call what, but we will try and figure this out. What is this? Okay, let's first just configure this now. So enable and then memory and then not SSE, I guess, or SSE. Let me just do that. Okay, next, and then we define that, and then let's look at what this thing is about. NPX. The inspector runs directly. Basically, want to understand, like, maybe I can just look at the code, whatever that thing was, as to how it allows us to interact with these things over HTTP. Right. So there's this X slash SSC. It's saying stateless. Yeah. No, it means state. A command to spawn MCP STDIO server. Yeah, this is what we ran. Like we ran something else, but we ran the memory. Yeah, NPX model context protocol server memory, which is here. And this thing says lots of stuff, but the main part, which again, Coach told me, was just to NPX, whatever that command was, to get the memory MCP server over SCDIO working. SSE to CDIO, SCDIO to. Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, I didn't know GitHub had this like. Wait and check. Let's see. That's neat. Anyway, MCP proxy sitting in the middle. Wait, is this? Oh, this is the other way around. That connects to a remote SSE server, but then talks with Cloud Desktop, which is what we are like. We are being here. Want to interact with this over. Oh man, this is not what we want. Okay, don't care about this. Let me try and find. Also, let me look at the. Right. Let me also find. I'm wondering if we can just find like a remote MCP server. Some last course. An interesting for Khoj to. I'm doing a live coding session. A fun demo, just to get its gears turning, and hopefully you can find us some interesting thing. And then there was this. Okay, glad I looked at it a little bit more carefully. We don't want this. We don't want to be interacting with the um, the MCP server, the thing which gives us the tools over STDIO. We want to be interacting over HTTP with the server. So this one seems to be like converting remote servers which are interacted with over SSE or streamable HTTP or whatever it is. Don't particularly care for that bit of how MCP proxy interacts with that. But if for Khoj to interact with MC like an MCP proxy thing, it seems to expect SCDIO, like a terminal-based interaction, which is exactly what we're not trying to do. Oh, this is the same bug we discussed earlier, which I have not still gotten around to fix, which is we moved it to WebSocket, and on a server restart, connection dies, which it shouldn't. It should just retry, and we will fix it at some point. Let's look at this thing. What is this about? And install OpenMP. What is this? What? No, I just want to GitHub. Okay. I don't want to sign up. Is this a platform thing? Or maybe the, well, let's see how much work it is to sign up to the platform, but need SDK API keys. Wait, what? No. Quick start. Okay. Knowledge cutoff is not a problem with Khoj, but wait, what is? Let's look at it. Oh, it's maybe. Okay, you can index documents from your local file system, is what it's saying. And then wait, what is this? I'm not sure what this is even. Okay, you do this is what they claim, and then open an API key. Why do I need to put embedding? Oh, it's okay. This is a little bit involved. It's just creating embeddings with any of these providers of the documents you care about. I don't particularly care to do that. MCP, HTTP servers, let's find that. And find some interesting but simple MCP server that can interact over HTTP on local host. MCP needs to generate embeddings and code already as up to date. up-to-date information about from the internet or your docs. Okay, so while this is doing it, we can also look up some stuff. Cloud. Oh man, there's a bunch of. This is way too much information. I just look for some yummy things. Wait, how? Okay, why it's so difficult to just get a. Okay, get where those fine. Yeah, this maybe sounds more promising in terms of simplicity and still being awake. In terms of being like simple enough and over HTTP server, blah blah, and then okay, these are the two tools it exposes. Again, we don't particularly need to build this into code, but so you see how these configs are defined with this npx thing. I feel like I didn't want to get into the Claude or what are this model context protocol docs. Fairly annoying for me. They define these tools, that's all great, and then and just tell you to run it with Claude desktop with this like STDIO mechanism, which I don't particularly care about. Or should we just go with the HDDIO mechanism? I wonder if we should just like implement that for now. Or maybe it just works it up. Okay, let me just npx this thingy and then not. I think that would be this, yeah. Running on STDIO. Wait, okay, the docs are broken links. And this thing seems to be more involved. Okay, let's just try, I guess. Okay, let me just ask Khoj about like, okay, check that. What if we were to interact with with Firecrawl, I think MCP. Let me just look at one more thing. Oh man, this is also again doing this like, what's with these like local terminal tools? Like, I don't need this. MCP server, remote hosted URL. Yeah, this is what I need. Running with it. So I basically need to like, no, I don't want to run with MPX. But this is, oh, and the passing the API key URL. Like server-side events by default are like annoying in that form where they don't allow you to pass headers. Um, oh, and then they say this thing as well. So I can run it locally. With a Firecrawl API key. Okay, let's just go with this actually for now. But then why not just call this remote guy instead of installing it? Oh, because you have to expose the API key or like show the API key here, which I don't want to do while we're fiddling around. So I'll do it in this other terminal here. I'm just trying to start this npx. Firecrawl server. Firecrawl is the thing which allows you to scrape the web, like scrape a web page. We have we use Firecrawl, that's why I know about it, as one of the providers, like a web page reading provider for Khoj. Oops. And I'm doing it in a separate terminal. Okay, it's claiming that it's running, and then here we just need to then update this into 3000 slash SSE, and then we will need to tell Khoj to, not Khoj, Cline to, wait, actually, let me ask Khoj first how this works. MCP, HTTP server served over HTTP or HTTP. Use SSC. Tell me how I do that. Track, get tools, or interact with. the SSE server over SSE to get tools and call tool. Okay. And so this is what I was talking about. Like these things seem to like uh, doing the streaming, unidirectional streaming, which maybe there's some use for it which I haven't understood because I haven't um interacted with SSE that much, but like feels like it could be a enhancement rather than the only option. Like I don't particularly need streaming always. I could do streaming or I could not do streaming as well, depending on like me, the MCP host, I think is the correct terminology there. The host requirements. Like I could just be like get tools require streaming for sure. Like I don't even understand why we need streaming for that. We just need like get tools, tell me all the tools you have, done, and then the next thing could just be like, okay, we want to stream the response. That's great. That's an option. But having to do that sounds super strange. So this is what I think I already mentioned, but like it's seems a little pointlessly complicated. Um, what is well, it's explaining why it's a C, but again, I don't. It's too heavy-handed, according to in my opinion. But yeah, receive the connection ready. Uh, oh man, the server processes the post request and sends the response back to you. Okay. Oh, there's a persistent connection or something it's establishing. If you like. Tool call. Connect to client. You list tools, tools, and then call the tool with this. This portion is simple enough. I see. And then like with the client, what it's allowing us to do is like keep the persistent connection open and then send request and send request. What's the messages bit? This event, okay, message event. So SSE sends out sends to the caller a bunch of like event and then some blob, like an event type and then event data. Or it could just like sit upstream. No, if it doesn't pass an event, I think it becomes a message. Like it's automatically categorized as a like a message of event type message from the SSE server. So I think this is what this event thing is doing. Maybe we can just like copy because this sounds Wait, we have things staged right here. Wait, not here. Where is this one? Yeah. Yeah, we have things staged. And so let's go on and ask this to convert, create an MCP client that interacts with the MCP server over SSE to get tools and call tool. See this sample implementation as an example and update. And research.py to use that instead. Okay, so we've told client to go and use the sample implementation suggested by Khoj. This I feel like I trust a bit more. I'm thinking about why. One, we know SSE is one thing. Oh, and then maybe but the MC proxy didn't seem to like doing that. But anyway, like there seem to be some SSE streamable HTTP references, including the pirate crawl MCP server that we've right now configured code to do here, use here. I have not looked into specific kind of handshaking mechanisms that Khoj is suggesting here with the whole connection ready and then the message event and the error event and where is the listening for events. I see. Maybe okay. I think where is this? So init connect listen for events and then send request. Send request is I see. And this is so what they're doing is feels like it's like do a post request, but whatever get or post request to send. Yeah, to send like to call the tools list and then to post the arguments. And then there's a server side event which like you connect to the server on an endpoint where then it streams back. So it's like a kind of a webhook proxy for like basically a place where you can listen to when you call the tool, the events that are streaming through that. Like when the MCP server is executing the tool, whatever results are coming back to it, it's returning up to the client via the SSE SSE connection with the MCP client, which is again more involved than you need it to be just to be like you can stream over like why not just stream back on the post request that I made? Anyway, let's see where Cline is at. Got to check on this. MCP tool response. Sure, it's written it in some processors MCP client thing. I'm not sure whether you want to keep it here, but it's fine. Now, what is the time? We are at an hour and 20 already. Feel like this is going to be a longer session than our already extended 1.5 hours that we'd done the last time, I think. We started off well, which is doing an hour-long session, but then think as we've tried to do more ambitious projects, uh, time is extended. It's I don't particularly care to increase the cost. I just want to do. I wonder what would happen if I don't even listen on the SSE thing. Like maybe that's fine. Like I don't listen for. Oh wait, it's not fine for the MCP, like the Firecrawl MCP, interacting with the Firecrawl MCP server just because we need the results. And I feel like the response, yeah, they're not returning the response in. Okay, so in the post request that you make to actually call the tool. This is good again for like long running jobs, but we are making, especially for like Firecrawl, like they already expose a post endpoint or some such where we can like get back the results. So this MCP mechanism seems just more involved and not necessary to have listening in on this like other endpoint, at least from what I understand. But here we're doing like MCP clients items. MCP clients are coming from where again? Being passed into pick next tool. So we look at that a bit, but it gets a server name and client. Oh, so MCP clients is just like stuff configured, I'm guessing, on the code server, on the admin panel, the way we configure the Firecrawl thing, and before the memory thing. The server name and client is gotten. Oh, so the client's also passed in from this dictionary. And then the client is connected. Okay, so the client is the new client, the MCP client that we asked client to write. And then it interacts with it by, yeah, this client list tools that Khoj suggested earlier. And then it fills in this portion correctly. So okay, it's populating the new tool definitions as we expect it to. And then here, why is there a I'm not sure whether the try hanging out there. But yeah, it's passing the MCP clients to. Okay, so this is all the thing it cared about. We don't show it. Okay, yeah. So all it did was create the MCP clients based on the MCP servers configured on the codes on this code server, right? And this is fine. A dictionary of server name and the client, and then passes that to pick next tool to popular tools, and then here again with the MCP clients, it gets the client, connects, sees if it's connected, if not connects to it, that's good, and then calls tool. These are all looking fairly reasonable. Oh, I see. Try to put. We can just remove this try block and then just close the clients irrespective. So client try to add a try catch block, like put the whole research block that we use in a try catch, and then at the end finally close it. We're not doing a try catch, so that's kind of in an error. The client wouldn't be closed, but that's fine for now. We can handle that later, and then it just didn't put it in the try catch block. Well, okay, things done its work. We've configured the Firecrawl MCP server. So assuming all these folks have thought through this thing correctly, which I doubt, but we've had Khoj do some research on how to interact with these MCP clients over SSE. We can make these Cline and like Claude Code also do some like web research, but they're not. Um, I haven't found them to be like as good at that part because they're mostly coding agents. All right, we have to fix this. Think code mentioned somewhere SSE started. Like, how do we install this SSE started client? This thing. Oh, this. Oh, they both are trying to use different. Oh, no, I want first here. Ah, I see. So this guy also knows this. Let's fix that up. Oh, that's all that was required, I think. And we use it here. The streaming bit. And then listens for events, but it doesn't kind of pass it back, does it? Wait, what is this listen? Who's using this? Connect, use this. Oh, it's not list tools, call tool, close, all that's fine, but okay, let's just see if this is gonna work. Okay, this is connected. And then where we here we want to maybe duplicate another, put another tab. And, look up using the MCP server. What did we call it? Firewall? What do you call it? Web scraper. Let me just, because we have already a web scraper, I'll have to try and encourage it to use this tool. So for the first part, we can put it care because we want to see if we can even connect up with this thing. But look at whether and value using the MCP. So file crawl tool. Does it say MCP to it? I don't know, but and this is only in research mode available right now, the tool. So we'll be seeing, okay, so this failed at some point. Where is this failing? Um, let's look at the client more carefully, the base URL. Okay, so one problem is straight up here. With what all did it say? Connecting. Yeah, connecting to MCP SSE server at. Okay, that's correct. Localhost 3000 SSC, but then it failed. Uh, without enough, you're at hour and a half now, without enough timeout error. what did we call HTTP localhost? HTTP localhost colon 3000 slash SSC. Doesn't need to give this dot dot dot. It's really confusing, but we get the point, which is the one that's saying. I mean, okay, I'm also. Okay. I'm just seeing how to can connect these. Okay. That failed with unclear reason for why, and I have stopped the Khoj. I think I stopped it. But let's see where we're at with the on-state changes. Okay, so here it wait, I don't want to. It added a client, and then apart from the client, it started using the client here, right? Like if the interaction with the SSC server it works fine, this is a relatively clean implementation. How to interact with it by wrapping the MCP client in, like the interaction with the MCP server and the MCP client. We do want to. Okay, where was this? Okay, what if let's just try the STDI mechanism because this is feeling more involved than you want. What if we were to just interact with the MCP server over STDIO? Please look up detailed interaction for get tools and call tool. At least. Okay. We ask Khoj to look into that, and then let's see if what do we do? What do we do as in like how do I should I like on stage this? What should I do with on stage change? I guess is my question. I could just stash this, I guess. Because I want to test if the post, like the earlier mechanism, just doing a get here and then a post here works to at least be able to. Let's look at the client, like what is it doing here again? Oh, we don't have the client in the get stage thing. I don't want to stage it right now. So we can look at here. Oh, this one was calling post on, like the send request is doing post. Where is it doing it? Yeah, here post at the request endpoint, which is passed. Where's this set? Oh, instead of doing a post on the, like it's not calling to different. The method is tool slash call. Oh man, they're like passing in the again, unclear whether this is what uh the MCP protocol requires, passing in the method. What do you mean? Like, why hasn't it looked up read online about how in detail before you this question? Um, maybe it has all the information already in its contract, but I just want to make sure it's. Oh man, is that what's happening? Oh, I see. The thing, the MCP thing is failing. And which is why Khoj is not able to use research mode. Okay, for now, we will stash the client, MCP client, SSE client, or we can't just stash the research portion of this. MCP client over SSE by updates to use MCP client over SSE. Right. Okay, we've the answer change we've stashed, and then here we can stash this as well. MCP. Oh, we can't stash this stuff. This config stuff needs to be here. Admin, like all this needs to be here. This part. We can stash. What? Okay. We just stash everything we can't pop. And then MC, no, just about tree, MCP stash initial MCP implementation with using just get post to get list, get tools, and call tool. Okay. So we still have the code where like the MCP server config is being set up. That may also actually need to be changed if you code with the CDI mechanism, because we will not be calling an HTTP endpoint, we'll be calling a CDI, right? Okay, but we stash that to, right, at least have codes not be interacting, trying to interact with the MCP servers for now. So the config is there, but it doesn't interact, and then we can ask it questions, and then you guys can see what it's saying while we do our parallel research as well. But for now, let's look at what. I mean, yeah. So let's just first look at actually, because this I think is. don't know, this like already knew this thing and didn't choose a tool. I feel like that's maybe what happens because it's already started saying all these things. I don't know. Um, if this is the right way to do it, but oh yeah, I think this is what happened because I think this was an answer to my previous. Yeah, yeah, it's answered that question as well with the. Uh, okay, what to be written? Online before you give us some Sarah. Share sample code. Need to refresh the client. So we don't have to deal with the WebSocket issue. It's kind of funny, like it tried to it may have tried to, well, it didn't get to it, but while trying to understand how to use, like integrate MCP into itself, it failed to do research because it had a half-baked MCP implementation in it, which is why like self-modifying would require a little bit of modify on a copy of yourself before you wait, what's wait, why it's still doing this thing where it's not looking up online, like fairly strange. I don't think we are doing any MCP stuff here anymore. Yeah. And it didn't throw any errors. No. We just ask it basically whether in like is it able to look stuff online? Man, it just in default mode. And yeah, let's how are we doing? STDIO, MCP server, interact. Blah blah, then MCP client, something. They mentioned the SSC thing as well. Oh, MCP itself allows. Oh, this may simplify this. There's an SSC client which gets this, connected to SSC server, connect whatever, and then where is it? Okay, session list tool. This is what we need. And then it populates it, blah, blah, and then where is it getting to response again? This is the response from the Anthropic model, a chat loop. Wait, where is it calling? Passes available tools, get response. Oh, here it calls a tool. Oh, we could just use this then instead of trying to implement this whole scene by ourselves. And session can be that'd be great because then we can we can get abstracted away from this whole how to do SSE, how to do STDIO, and the specific forms as MCP servers need. Connect to server, blah, server script path. If you pass a script path, which is what all those things were doing, then we can get the local thing working. Or if we pass a URL, oh, this is good. Okay, great. Let's try this actually. So a little bit of our own reading was helpful. For some reason, Khoj is not in a mood to interact with the code, with the web. At least on research mode, I don't want to look into that. But this is the three things we guess we need. And then we can, basically we don't have to worry about the whole, yeah, this didn't even, it did the call tools. So maybe the message streaming bit, where was yes? Call tools is here, we get the result. This is all we care about anyway. And then we append it. Maybe it was as simple. Let's see. What should we get back? We should get back the initial, the initial implementation. Because it at least has a simplistic version of interacting with the server to get tools, right? This thing, and then a way to, right, and to do like call the tool, and then let's just see where, like, how do you pip in, like, where's this MCP client thing? Package installed from MCP Python. Let's go by project. And then build this. We get the MCP Python thing, and then here we have this, right? Get enabled each server. I do this like SSE thing here. Anyway, I don't particularly care. The main parts that we care about, let's just copy this. Copy this MCP client from now they've been edited. For the portions we care about in this, actually, yeah, till here is fine, and then the client here. Wait, at this point, we're like using let's see. First clean this up, then worry about how to integrate it with research mode process query. This There's a part where it's deciding which server to connect, like what kind of server to connect to process query is. Okay, yeah, so this is doing more. We just need list tools and call tools, right? Like that's all we care about from this actually. And then connect to server, I think. Yeah, so the connect portions and then none of this. Using def get rules. Isn't that what it's called? Oh, tool definition. Don't need any of this. Don't need any of this. We just need sessions. So I think I can just like kill all this. Cleanup is fine. Connect to server, connect to SCI server, all this, and then yeah, let's just keep the other one as well for now. And then yeah, these things are loaded now. We don't need this, don't need this, don't need this. Don't need this either. Okay, it's clean. This stuff can go closer to this client SSC so we can keep the relevant portions together. And then we already have a logger here. Okay, we have an MCP client here, and now we want to see how did they connect up to the MCP client with this argument, right? So this is all we. Oh, this MCP client doesn't even need an output. Connect to server needs. Okay. Wait, where did we go? Here, and then we want to in research mode get MCPs. Wait, maybe we need the other. Yeah, let's get the other thing as well. Maybe, or should I just like for all the MCP servers, we need separate clients, which is something that the other guy was doing. So maybe I'll try and get that as well. Apply this stash out and then see what it's doing, right? So there's a client, and now we can just sub the client that it was using here for the new client we defined. And then this guy is of type MCP client, and this guy was type MCP client, and this thing is of the type MCP client. Yeah, and we can update this client to follow this maybe mechanism. Yeah, this may be a good idea. And then and then we don't need any of this stuff. Okay, so just basically we keep space URL and API key in here. And then when we this guy needs the URL. So here we don't pass the URL in here. We get it from self.base URL and then doesn't take in API key. So let's check that and then self.base URL here. So if you're going to define the SSE server, we right now just like passing the URL API tokens are not being handled, and then base URL here. Oh, it does a list too. Okay, whatever, it's fine for now. And then here we do base URL again. Maybe I'll call it like base path or something, but server script path, right? Okay. Let me just mass rename that to self.base URL and then remove this and then rename base URL to URI or base URI just to be like it's not just HTTP path is just a general universal resource indicator or ID, universal resource ID, which can be the path or like a local path or a server SSE path, right? As naming becomes a bit more sensical. And then wait, every time it does this. Okay, both of these tools trend. Sure, that's fine for now. And then we connect based on not this, but yeah, right. Okay, let's again do the same thing. Cell.base URI now, and then remove this. Just a faster way to refactor your base URI string, and then that's what's used to connect to the server based on the actual string. And we then, based on the string of the base URI, well, let's call it base URI. Here we should let it be for now. Or we'll change it for consistency. So during MCP client initialization, the base URI is defined, API key is defined, which is not being used right now. This session, now we care about maybe getting access to that because we don't we could just like we have this like it's in self, so that's fine. Okay, now let's look at research mode again. So MCP client takes in the like this how it's defined in research mode, and then passed into pick next tool here, here. So for all the MCP servers you defined, it'll have a name to key value pair of name to like the MCP client being defined, which is passed to this string and the MCP client as a value. And then once we get this, we need to do is if not is connected is set. Okay. Connect. So let's just add this variable self dot is connected. This guy using this. Defining this connected. Or it was an async event, which it was setting where here. Man, why do we need okay, whatever. And then can we just set it here somewhere? After initialize, we do yeah. And then even here we need to do that after the initialize. Okay, so we have this is connected. That should work. It's seeing it as an event is set, whatever. And then client to connect. Is that what it's called here? Connect to server. What is this called? Connect, and then we do session.list tools. And then, this is type now. This is great. So we get a tool which has a name and then maybe something else. Input schema. That's great. This thing is typed now, so that is better. Okay, so this is how we get tools, and then here we use it again to session to call tool. Okay, that's great. And then once we get this, we know name and arguments. Okay, this name and arguments. And then it returns a called tool result, which has content. So maybe we're doing something decently earlier, but at least we don't have to worry about that now that we're using the MCP package. But yeah, once we get the tool result, we just dump this in, right? So there wasn't much change required on this side. There was just this how I'm finding out this. Okay. This walrus thing is useful for doing the check and assigning in one go. But we're at 2 hour mark. We're over the 2 hour mark. And we're still, and then now, assuming this will work, we can work with the SCDIO thing as well. Oh, what happened here? Oh, we can just, that's fine. We can just try and use the memory tool directly. Maybe let's just go with first the Firecrawl tool, but yeah, like we don't have any configuration, just see what's up. Um, Maybe we shouldn't say SSC here. What is the client doing again? Like I'm just looking at the client config. It takes in the URL. No, SSC client. I'm guessing wants to connect to SSC, so that's fine. Okay. Use the Firecrawl tool to get weather Nairobi and in research mode. Okay, takes one position argument, but two are given. These are right next to just an issue with our potential implementation, which is at client.connect. Wait, what's the problem with this guy? Our two given. MCP client connect. Just get self. I'm just getting tired or fix none. I want. Let's ask one of these guys. I'm missing something obvious, which I think I am. Where are we? Um, Client is this guy. Copilot Chat has started to be a little bit more intelligent in references when you paste, but it's not. It's glitchy. It's going. Um, mm, oh, problem with this. Oh, I see. That makes more sense. You don't need to get the argument because that's already there. All we do in the connect is decide whether to use the SSE server based on what pattern the base URL is of. Is it an HTTP endpoint or and if not, then we assume it's an HDIO server. So it wasn't the problem with the connect, it was the problem with the downstream call. So the stack trace tend to reveal that to us. Okay, let's go again. Okay, this is a bit better. Let's see where we ended up hitting a problem. Oh, we went. Wait, let me just board. Wait, maybe we have logs because of these. Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, great. So we were able to connect with the Firecrawl server and get these tools. That's great. So we can now connect up with the Firecrawl server, and then hopefully we can connect up with like the local SCDI things as well. But at least one of these things is connecting up. And then it didn't particularly complain about this tool definition that we built out, but then it didn't like when I made this call, I think where is this? The next tool definition. Made this tool definitions and complain about that. And then when we are it's up. It doesn't like the slash semantics. So we can replace that. But we would need, well, the Firecrawl thing is not particularly using the underscore, so I'm not sure exactly. Let's just go with this for now and see what's up. But based on the error message, thankfully the error message is informative. It seems to not like tool names, which like basically likes tool names with like hyphens, underscores, alphabet, and alphanumeric, but not slashes or forward slashes on them. I think that's the issue. Oh, and like we have to update this. Wait, what is it? Not like. Does it? This is the end, so it's fine. I think, but yeah. We'll need to kind of see how to demarcate like the server name, tool name, like the best like delimiter or like divider of like the server name and tool name being passed to the model, and then up to Khoj research agent to figure out which tool to call on which server. And there must be some like standards or protocols or whatever, like mechanism by which you do that, because it's not something that we're not the first ones to try and like do that. You could connect up to multiple servers, so there must be some standard semantics we can worry about later. And Now let's just see this. Okay, so let's see the tool definitions right here. It's created a bunch, right? And it has that like new pattern that we formed. And the description is nice, and then schema is the main thing, URLs. Okay, that's cool. So the tool call happened, and then let's just see how that goes. Where do we see that? Okay, let's just keep it here. Hope that it succeeds this time around. Oh, it did. Okay, let's see the nice. It's using Firecrawl search, at least it wants to. So the first part and with a query, which is good and tells other things as well. This is awesome. Let's just see if that tool call is recognized by code. And then the second part will get triggered, which is okay, we're here. The name is start has a hyphen in it. In here, pull server MS5 crawl out. This should work. This should work. And now this one is, I guess, like the second moment of truth. Let's go and see if that'll work. Okay, we got something. Oh yeah, we got a tool result. Text content something. Text is, yeah. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so then let's see whether now Khoj can iterate through this. So we successfully got all the tools from the MCP server and then made a call to the MCP server with the query parameter decided by the code research agent. And now we want to see if it can like put in the information in the correct form and then the JSON dump may not work here. This seems like a pedant. Yeah, let's see. But like, yeah, I feel like this may not right now, but that is relatively easily fixable. I just go and see what's up. Yeah, so that happened. JSON serialization issue, which we can now fix. That we know the oh, this is wait, it said it's a list of content, I see. What we want to do is, yeah, tool dot for tool result or resultant, resultant tool result, resultant tool result. We want to do result dot. And what are the types here? This data, this text. Don't know exactly what the difference is. For now, we will just do text. So, and what's data again? It's again image data. Okay, I don't need that for now. Just do text. Oh, and close the list comprehension here, and then we JSON dump it, right? And that's fine. I don't know why it's still showing the red squiggly. I think that should go away. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're at least almost at the end of this, and it's now 2.5 hours. So hopefully at the 2.5 hour mark, we're done. This is much longer, but this is exciting. We struggled a lot with trying to interact with the MCP server. There's an STDIO mechanism for local stuff and then an HTTP server-side event mechanism. And we thought initially we had to build this out, but then I looked up a blog post and found that we can just reuse the MCP package, the Python package for that instead. We'd already built out a bunch of stuff with Khoj and Cline around like just the form in which in Khoj we want to do this. Okay, so it's doing the same thing again now. We come in here. So we build the structure where like we call the list tools. Like the list tool calls on the MCP server and then okay, back here. Now let me remove these breakpoints, go and do the thing as in like do the research, use MCP tool. This is good. Okay, so second iteration ran and it's not particularly complaining. So we are able to do like multiple iterations. Oh, and it did file crawl search and file crawl scrape. For whatever reason, did work with the first thing, but at least we are seeing like Khoj use the file crawl tool as we've told it. And trying to use other functionality for file crawl. The other tools the MCP service provides, but the main part being, yeah, like initially we built out the main structure of getting the tools that are available on all the MCP servers that are configured by the server admin, and then putting it dynamically into the research agent as an additional set of tools available to Khoj research agent apart from the defaults tools that it has. And then once it gets all the tools from all the MCP servers configured, it decides which tool to use. And then once it's picked a tool apart, and for our right now session, we care about when it's picked an MCP tool. At that point of time in the iteration loop, we next kind of identify when it's picked an MCP tool and then call that specific MCP server with the specific MCP tool that we wanted to run and the specific query parameters that Khoj has chosen. So we built that structure out earlier, and then most of the session, I think like we're struggling with figuring out how to make Khoj and like how to interact with the MCP server. Oh, there was an oh, this is just I think at the end. Oh, I should have got what is the MCP client supposed to have? To clean up, I think. This is again a minor thing we fix up and see if it okay, anyway, for some reason we can like fix the form of this thing, but we're at least seeing some like the interaction happening. And so what I was saying was that like the rest of the like after we'd done that bit, the rest of the time we spent trying to figure out how to interact with the MCP servers, whether initially we're just trying to get it to work with the MCP like HTTP over HTTP. Then I wondered if we can make it work with SCDIO, but then I looked up some stuff online and figured out like, hey, we could just use the MCP package, the Python package, and that like abstracts away for us the specific forms in which the interaction need to happen. So we just use a client, and then we let the package make whatever calls it needs to, in whatever forms it needs to, but basically give us one list tools and then second call tool. So those two are like top level methods on the MCP client from the package, and so that's greatly simplified our interaction, which we then just used the client session, where this client session is set up in here, and the session contains the session from the MCP package. And it also contained the two mechanisms of talking with an SCDO client or an SSC client, server-side event client. And that now allows us to not only interact with the MCP client, the SSE or whatever, like the HTTP client, but also to interact with the with any local MCP servers without requiring the MCP proxy. So by default, on like Khoj, we'll generally like have it behind a URL, but you don't need it behind a URL is, I think, the capability that this thing now supports, and we just want like Khoj to respond once to complete this using MCP tools loop. Oh, research 90. Is it 90 line number? No, 390. First, I should just stage these changes up. Oh, and then which 0.1.4. Just want to set the package, which we have not set here. So we know we need at least a 0 point something, 0.1 point something, or whatever, 0 point something. As a package for Khoj, and then what were we doing again? Right. Oh, there's a chat mod. Yeah, so that was the issue where we're at. So 390 line. This is in search on line. Wait, what? You try and search online with like the normal tool, maybe. Yeah, try to use it the normal tool, but then failed again for some. Oh, I think maybe the previous call failed. Maybe we should just look at what the outputs are coming from the. I'm not particularly sure why this. Point here, big point here, and point here, I guess. Okay. I just see what kind of output it's giving. The firewall thing, so particularly relevant for our thing because I'm not trying to integrate. Like I'm not trying to use the firewall MCP server particularly for Khoj, but where is this? The context. So care about, we use MCP, and then compiled has here. Maybe this is the issue. This is not well formatted. What? No, that's not what I want. Oh, this is what I want. Okay. Just trying to simplify it for ourselves. But the results look like this somewhat. It's not the best looking content, but it may also be because content, like this is a dictionary or like a list of URL, title, and content, which we are encoding. I mean, these LLMs are usually decent enough at figuring out stuff from this thing. There is Unicode here. And let's see what the query args that it passed were. Yeah, it asked for only main con. It's interesting, like we don't particularly wanted to set all these query args. We could choose some of these things, but it's cool that like Khoj or Claude or whatever is setting all these query parameters in relatively reasonable to a reasonable set of values. It's fine. There's no particular issue with. Yeah, but Khoj doesn't like, or Claude doesn't like the results. Maybe we can. Oh, this Firecrawl search. Oh, wait, why did I didn't put a, I didn't stop and see what the thing was. Why does this thing get didn't return results? Um, okay. I don't particularly want to worry about this one right now, and then I want to try this. Like, wait, actually, we could just try with this thing as well, just to see if it works with the proxy. Should I kill it or not? Yes, let's kill it. Let's kill the server and try it. Try with this. Let's see if we can do memory as well over this SSE endpoint. And if this makes sense or not, we'll try the other NPX model context protocol server memory as the URL for now. We'll change the name of the MCP server model that we've created, where it was earlier only meant to support URLs, but now it can be passed any URI. At least that's how I'm framing it. Can worry about semantics at a later stage. Oh yeah, let me also try if we can do multiple memory. If we can try out like multiple servers, MCP servers, so we have a Firecrawl in there. And the memory one. And then this one instead. Okay, remember that I bought a pickaxe for 50 gold. I'm still being in character of OC, at least for this localhost. Yesterday. I want to keep. I think let's run. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it did connect to the. Oh, that's cool. It connected to this thing, saw the open nodes and things. There was some error. Oh, okay. Oh, this is awesome. I think it ran called some. Nice. Yeah, it's put it in some structured form, which this memory server needs. Results there. And then hopefully it completes right now. But and I don't know what the error happened, but at least it. Oh, what did it try? What is happening here? Let's look context. Where's oh, the firewall thing is acting up a bit, but not sure why, but at least the memory thing. Oh, it did another relation things. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let's see. The memory thing. Okay, so now normally Khoj without the memory thing doesn't remember stuff context across conversations. Um, and unless of course you've put it into its like you've synced your knowledge base with that information, it won't remember stuff. We have okay, I'll get into that later, but like right for now, I put a memory part in a separate conversation, and now we're gonna be trying to see if Coach can remember that. What did I buy yesterday and for how much? Now it may look through, like I may use the document retrieval tools, which has transaction histories for the specific Coach instance with the OTC character. But it hopefully should also look into its memories if this thing works out. So yeah, it's looking through the documents, that's fine. We're hoping that it also looks through the memories. Right, so this is, I guess, good, like it's likely not finding it in the transactions because those are from 3345 PC. Yeah, I mean, we know that it has, but let's see. So this is using the kind of new tools that we built earlier with Khoj to grep. So this one is about grep, and then the other is about list file, view file, and then this one is the normal semantic search tool that we do. Look in your memories. Let me just be a little bit more direct. I don't know if it's your memories or my memories or whose memories, but whoops. Okay, let's go again. How much? What did I buy yesterday? And for how much? Look through your memories. Let's just try and make it. Force it to look up the memory tool. Look up in the memory tool. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it didn't connect up to the other. No, it did connect up to this guy. Okay. Okay, did a read graph, which is great, and then let's see what it found. person something something lives in transaction observation purchase made on. Yeah. Okay. So it has this information, and that's good that it found across different conversations, right? Um, so hopefully it'll answer with the right answer. And if that works out, then as before, we'll then be only um like this problem of how to make an agent use the tools in a coherent fashion will be a problem, I think, unless the like one is there's someone who's building these MCP tools, right? And that's great. Um, but there may be need for some customization for the person, like the person who is adding these tools to an agent. In right now our case, the code server admin is able to add these things with this new feature that we've just built. Um, like these kind of problems where, and like some class of this we'll just like fix straight up, like it's a generic fix for it, like because it was also interacting with the um and the file crawl server and feeling like it wasn't getting the results in a form that it could read. Unclear why, maybe some problem in the way we like formatting it. And so we can fix those generic issues, but there may be some things around if people connect up, like even right now, right? Like if you connect up the Firecrawl server, Firecrawl MCP server to Khoj, Khoj already has a bunch of default tools that it uses. It's unclear which one to use when to the model. And if the user or the server admin who's connecting up these MCP tools isn't very aware of the kind of conflicting nature of all the tools, all the MCP server tools that are made available by the MCP, the different MCP servers that connect up, the interaction may not be cohesive. So the like second session we done where we like built out the tools, but then we had to work through um, having the agent more cohesively um, use the tools to be like, hey, these are all the tools available, but like use these in these scenarios, use those in some other scenario, and kind of like demarcating the boundaries of which tools to use when requires the person who's connecting these tools up to be aware of which tools are being made available to their agent and how they interact with like the server side tools um, that are already built in, or like just their MCP servers, like the different tools that are available across MCP servers, they shouldn't conflict. And if they do conflict, like how do you, as the user, tell the model which to use when? You'll have to basically the user will have to tell the model this, at least for now. And afterwards, maybe the model can mostly work its thing out. Okay, so some problem with the um way we are like doing this, like connect to SCC endpoint part, but we can worry about that later. At least we can see the model being able to. So like some two improvements are like at least like, hey, why is this disconnect happening? I don't think we're like doing cleanup in the loop. Yeah, we're not doing it in the loop, so we're doing it after the loop ends. So why is the SSE server disconnecting? Something on maybe on our side. And then second is like the formatting of the responses coming back from the MCP tool call, MCP server tool call. Is there some problem in the way we need to like, do we need to like format it better for the model to be able to um, manage? So those are like two things to look into. But what we've gotten working is um, so I'm just looking at next question. How does ordering work? Maybe I need GitHub context to get a better Jira query. Sometimes finding the ticket in Jira first. Yeah. So you don't necessarily want to tell the model like the ordering. I mean, maybe sometimes when you know there's a fixed ordering always, you'd like prefer the model not to decide this part. You could just tell it when you build like agents in Khoj, you could just tell your agent. So like how I'd imagine is like when clients can do it, when users can do it, so not server admin, but users can do it, they can build agents with their MCP server tools or whatever it is, and then give instructions in to the Khoj agent to be like, hey, use this in this form. But to your general question, yeah, in the context of when to use what tools, all you want to tell it is kind of the boundaries of, hey, this tool is useful for these things, and it's different from this other tool in this specific way. So right now, we just integrated the Firecrawl MCP um, server with all the tools that it provides, right? Straight up. I don't know all the tools it provides. I just kind of connected it up. Yeah, so they do have each MCP um, server, when we do the get call, when you do the get tools call, maybe I'll just show this. There is the description, which is meant to be a description of that tool. So there is that by default, whenever we use the function calling paradigm, or the tool, the tool use function calling paradigm, and MCP is just a way, like it extends on that and builds on top of that. So there is a description built by the MCP server developer or the MCP tool builder of, hey, this tool is meant for these things. The problem only becomes when you like they only know what their tool can do. But when the connector up of multiple different MCP servers and tools, connect up multiple tools which may have overlapping, um, um, like overlapping responsibilities, that's when the user needs to. Um, yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what I mean. Like, where like you want the user to be able to kind of override or give those custom personalities. So similar to how in Khoj, we have a default set of system prompts that we use for Khoj. You as a user can override or like add additional, not override, but add additional instructions um, when you create custom agents. There should be something similar. Um, Maybe we can build it we can build it into Khoj as well. So when you define these tools, you can add like custom instructions which get inserted along with the um, um, tool developers instructions. Um, so maybe we can build it at that layer, or it could just be a top level instruction for like custom agents that folks create. So again, decisions to be made about like where should you be able to do this, but it seems like you would need to be able to have a little bit more control on which tools from which servers, and then any custom instructions to demarcate the boundaries between which tools have what responsibilities in the scenario where these tools overlap. And I'm not sure exactly the way around that, apart from the person who's connecting up these MCP tools to know what tools are connecting up, where they overlap, and how they overlap with the server's tools. So a little trickier, but something to figure out. But as we close this thing out, hopefully, Nick, I answered your question. But as we close this thing out, um, exactly, turtles all the way down. Um, exactly. So there are these like instruction, like even for like normal system prompts, there's like these turtles all the way down. Like the user can set some stuff. Khoj can set some, like the Khoj developers can set some system instructions, but then the LLM developers also have their own instructions which are put in. So there is with even the system prompts, this thing for the tools, there'll be something similar required. And right now we don't have the kind of standard schemas to do that. Whereas for system prompts, we still have something. It's not great. I have a bunch of thoughts on why it's not great, but that's maybe for next time. For now, just summarize. We spent a lot of time, so we spent almost 3 hours now. But we got MCP, like the ability for Khoj servers to connect up to MCP servers, use the tools that are available to them. We were able to connect up two different MCP servers, try them out. One was a firewall server, and the other was the memory tool. Khoj was able to put stuff in, pull stuff out in when we were debugging. We didn't get it to respond because of some errors for like the chat message thing, chat message model validation. There's two issues to fix, which is the SSE client connection failing for some reason at some points of time, and the other being the response format that is returned by the tool called the MCP tool call. For some reason, the model is not able to read that very well. Those things we can fix up, but at least we've gotten MCP connectors, so folks who are hosting their own servers can Khoj servers can connect up whatever tools they want without requiring us, the Khoj developers, to build these tools in. And of course, some tools we'll build in. Those are generic tools that work across for a bunch of use cases. So the memory tool example is, again, one of those things where we have already a PR sub made that we have to review and put that in. But we all like memory will be a top level first party tool. But for all the different use cases that folks have, the custom use cases, like Nick mentioned about like the Jira, GitHub interactions, like all those different things, all the custom use cases folks have, they don't need to wait for us to add tools. They can just connect up their tools to their Khoj servers. Hope it was interesting and it wasn't too boring as I struggled through the MCP integration, but glad that we got it working. See you folks tomorrow. I'll let folks know exactly what we're doing, but we may do another interesting thing tomorrow. I'll announce it on the Discord at least. But you can like kind of subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Khoj YouTube channel, to get notification about. It's happening at the same time, so we'll do it at 10 a.m. PST. But what specifically we'll do, I'll need to kind of see if we can get that done tomorrow, and then I'll announce it on Discord, on the Khoj Discord, and of course you can see it on the YouTube channel if you subscribe to it. Thanks, folks.